So right here, I have the brand new 630 Zip and Fold 20-inch fat tire e-bike that folds. This thing is really, really cool for many reasons. So let me show you all about it. Now, this is a 20-inch fat tire e-bike, but this packs a lot of power. It has a 750 watt rear hub motor. It also has a 48 volt, 15 amp hour battery. So you're gonna easily hit top speeds of 20 miles an hour with your twist throttle or pedal assist, but also that extra power is gonna get you up hills. So riders up to 300 pounds are gonna have no issues going up major hills with this 750 watts of power. Now, it can accommodate riders up to about 350 pounds, and you'll still be able to get up to hills, but you may just have to give a little bit more exertion to get you up major hills. Now, different grades of hills have different impact on how much exertion you'll need. I'm 225 pounds, and it can get me up hills quite easily with just using the throttle, actually. So the 750 watts provides a lot of power. Now, with the 14 volt, 15 amp hour battery, you're gonna get up to 50 miles on rides. And I would say full throttle, you should expect about 20 miles, depending on the type of hills you're doing, the weight of the rider, the conditions, and with pedal assist, you can go even farther. But it's a very large battery that can take you great distances. Cool thing about this is these 3-inch wide, 20-inch tires. These are great for on-road and off-road on certain trails. Now, if you're going down loose rocks, I wouldn't recommend them. They may slip a little bit. You can see they have a little bit of a slicker tread, but still, if you're going on some gravel, hard-packed trails, dirt, these are gonna do well, and the motor's gonna really perform as well. And it also provides a very cushy ride. The 3 inches are gonna absorb a lot of the vibrations, take that vibrations away from your body so you're not feeling it when you ride. It's really smooth and a lot of fun. In addition to that, you have 7 speeds as well. Now, these 7 speeds function just like 7 speeds on a typical bicycle. You can shift those gears. You don't have to be using the electric if you don't want to choose to. And you have these 7 speeds here. So you have gears 1 through 7. 1 is going to be for climbing hills. 7 is going to be for flat ground when you want to go faster. And the benefit of that is if you're going up really big hills, you're still going to want to have it in gear 1 to make it as easy as possible to pedal. But when you're in pedal assist 5, you're gonna wanna have it in level 7 so you can keep up with the assistance the motor's going and really go as fast as you would like to go, up to 20 miles an hour, that is. Now the seat is quick release, so I wanna tighten that down a little bit. Cool things. 1, you have quick release seat. You also have quick release handlebars. So you can raise and lower the handlebars to the height that you see fit, and just make sure you clamp those down. Now, in addition to that, obviously this folds. So watch how easy this is. On the front here, you're gonna pull up on the lever. This is gonna fold or come out. Handlebars are gonna fold down. Now from there, you release the lever right here, unlocks it, pull this, and now the bike folds completely in half and it sits like this. And this folds up to 22 inches wide. The highest point is going to be 28 inches because you can remove the seat if you need to fit it in a car. Now, if you wanted to leave the seat in, just pull your seat clamp down here and we can drop that down. So that's gonna be a little bit higher. So that's gonna be more like 29 inches. Fully folded like this, where the handlebars are up front there, we're looking at that's actually about 42 inches long. Now right here, you have your battery power, your speed, pedal assist level, and your odometer. Your charging port is under here. So you'd flip that up. On your charger that will come with the bike, you have 3 prongs that will slip in there. You will plug it into a wall and you'll be good to go. It's a twist throttle here. So I have it in pedal assist 0, so nothing will actually work. And from there, you just pull back to make the twist work, okay? Real easy to operate. And if it's in 0, the bike will not work or run. It has to be in at least level 1. And from here, you have your external derailleur, your 7 speeds. So to push up a gear, you push here. To push down a gear, you push here. It's called a trigger shifter. Now this is a 750 watt motor. It's got some good get up on it. Again, I'm 225 pounds. You'll see how easily it even handles me. I like to start with the throttle. I'm just gonna twist and go. Pick my feet up. And that's one thing I didn't mention. This has disc brakes front and rear. They are Tektro. They work great. They stop the bike on a dime. First and foremost, I don't know if you did the assembly yourself or if you hired a professional to do the assembly. We always would recommend having a professional do the assembly. But if you did it yourself, the number one most important element is going to be the brakes, especially these disc brakes. So it is absolutely imperative that the disc brakes have been adjusted properly and they can stop properly. In addition to that, there are brake pads inside of the calipers on these disc brakes. Those can wear down over time, especially if you're frequently having passengers on the back going downhill and putting a lot of pressure on the brakes. Also, if you're riding fast, coming to a stop very quickly, again, going to wear the pads down. Now, I highly recommend checking the pads at least every 100 miles. I would say if you're consistently carrying a load over 300 pounds, I'd recommend checking the brake pads even every 50 miles. Brakes and gears are one of those things, no matter how perfectly you adjust them in the moment, over time, they're going to lose their tune, especially depending on how you ride it, how many bumps you go over, what kind of wear and tear you're putting your bicycle through. So you're going to need to get your bike or have your brakes periodically readjusted. Also, the gears are going to need to be readjusted as well. Now, moving through the e-bike, there's a couple bolts on the e-bike that are some of the most important bolts on the e-bike that need to be tightened to ensure safe riding. Up here on the axle, we have our axle nuts. So when you receive your e-bike rickshaw, the front wheel will come off the bike. There's a nut on either side of the axle that secures the wheel onto the fork. That bolt must be tightened to the point of not being able to tighten anymore. Now, I don't recommend stepping or kicking on the wrench or things like that, but to the point where if you put a fair amount of torque on it, that bolt cannot move anymore. When we move up to the handlebars, these are also very important bolts. On the handlebar stem here, there's actually two bolts that tighten the tilting of the handlebars right here on top. Those are tightened with an Allen key. Again, those need to be tightened to the point of not being able to turn your Allen key anymore. You want to be able to forcibly get it to the point of not being able to turn it anymore. If you put your body weight down on these handlebars and these two bolts are loose, you can slip down, people can hit their face on the handlebars. It's a very vital bolt. So just ensure that those are tightened as tight as you can get them. Now, as is this bolt right here into the stem. This is the bolt to raise and lower the handlebars. If this is loose, the handlebars will move, they will shift. If that came loose when you were driving, you would lose all capability to steer. At which point, I would just recommend engaging the brakes. These are not common issues that occur, but it's important to know which bolts are most important, which bolts need to be tightened so you ensure prior to your first ride, you get them to that tightness level. And on the quick release, you're gonna wanna ensure that that's tight and clamped. If not, your seat's gonna slide around. Also underneath here on the seat rails, there's the bolts that allow for the tilting of the seat. Make sure those are tight, because if not, you could slip off the back of the seat or slip forward off the seat. So you're going to want to make sure those are nice and tight as well. Lastly, I would say with the passenger seat especially, there are 4 bolts that keep the seat attached. You just want to ensure if you're using a ratchet of some sort, keep ratcheting that. And again, just to the point where you cannot tighten it anymore, all 4 of those need to be tight. If you're going downhill with a heavy load, 400 plus pounds, 300 plus pounds, ease into the brakes as you're going down any hill on this e-bike rickshaw. Under no circumstance should you be flying down a hill at 20, 25, 30 miles an hour, and then at the bottom of the hill, want to pull on these brakes, especially if you have a load on the back or passengers on the back. You cannot do that. That is unsafe. Also, using the throttle. Again, when you're in level 1, the throttle will be engaged. I recommend keeping it in level 1, getting comfortable riding around, and getting familiar with how much you engage the throttle to get the motor going. How much you push this throttle is how much output you're going to get from the motor. Also, practice riding with and without passengers in safe spaces. go to a parking lot, get comfortable, make sure you have a feel for the steering. If you've never ridden an electric tricycle or a tricycle, period, the steering on a tricycle is much different than the steering on a two-wheel bike. So please practice steering before you put passengers on the back. When this arrives to your house, don't open it up and throw passengers on it right away. Not recommended by any means at all. When you're coming into turns on this electric rickshaw, do not be throttling through the turn. Back off, make the turn, at which point, once you're through the turn, you can use the throttle, re-engage the pedal assist. That creates a more stable and safe ride all the way through. Last thing I will say is this is an electronic e-bike. This has power, this has a motor. Be responsible, be aware, be cautious, and keep in mind if you have passengers on the back, it's a heavier load, more pressure on the brakes, and just more and more things to be cautious about. All right, so this is the Every Journey 750 watt E-Trike tandem. This is brand new from 630. It's really cool and a lot of fun. First off, it weighs 122 pounds in total, which actually isn't too bad considering the size of it. The battery weighs 10 pounds, so if you were to take the battery off, it would reduce it down to 112 pounds. Now, not light by any means, but again, a very, very big electric bike, trike, whichever you like to call it. All right, now let's go through the total length here. So front to back, 102 inches and a half. Also, I just want to point out that these are 24-inch by 3-inch wide tires. So they have a nice wide tread for great traction. The total width of the trike is 29.5 inches. So actually the width is right about the same as any other trike out there, and actually narrower than a lot of them, to be honest, as well. Step over height is 16 inches in the front, and I believe the same in the rear, 16 inches. Now you do have this footrest in the back as well that the rear passenger can step onto to get on and off easily. The seat in the lowest position is 33 inches. Now, the cool thing about mounting a tandem or a trike is you don't have to worry about it tipping, right? So you can get onto the seat like this and then slide your foot through. So the seat height isn't as important on a tandem trike as it would be on other bikes. So let's see now, you can get the seat up quite high here. So the seat in the highest position is 40 inches. So you've got about 7 inches of travel there with the seat post. Now let's check the rear here. I'm assuming it's the same, but let's just go ahead and confirm. The rear seat from the ground actually is a little lower. So this is 32 inches in the lowest position. And in the highest position is about 39.5 inches. So a little bit lower on the rear seat. Now, axle to axle is another question we get frequently, often because of bike racks, car racks, things like that. So let's go ahead and take that measurement. Okay, so axle to axle is 77 inches. This handlebar right here can also be raised and lowered, but to adjust the tilt of it right here, you actually can just do that with a tool and find the perfect position for you. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and lock that in place. Okay, let's see, to the top of the handlebars here. Now, I'll measure to the top of the stem because if you were to transport it, you could tilt the handlebars down to make it easier. So to the top of the stem is 44 inches. Now to the handlebars in this position is 45 inches, so not too much taller. If you're curious, from crank to crank, so from the middle of each crank is 25.5 inches. And we also have bags that fit in here. So the width is 17.5 inches by 21 inches and 12 inches deep. So you can get the handlebar all the way down to be 33 inches, or we can raise this up. And the max height, let's find our little line. So your max height's gonna be 36 inches. So about 3 inches of play on the rear handlebar here. The width of them is 24 inches from edge to edge. And these are, yep, the exact same handlebars front and back. The cool thing about these mini ape hanger style is, you know, they can be tilted closer or away from your body very easily. So they can accommodate different rider body types. I think that covers all the measurements I wanted to go over. If there's any other measurements you're curious about, please comment below or email us, the team at sixthreezero.com, or call us 310-982-2877.